What's up, friends? We are we are live. You may have noticed my burrito. I'm gonna eat this burrito, and I hope that doesn't make anybody sad. Because I have been. I'm on. I think I talked about this a little bit on like the New Year's stream, but I've been trying my best to just make healthier choices my job. That's the plan, right? What's up, Bridgewater? How you doing? And so part of that means that I have to eat on a regular schedule, and I'm working out 4 days a week. So I went to the gym this morning at like 7. I got done around 8, and by the time I got home, I just didn't have time to eat and everything and still get here on time. So my apologies. I'm gonna eat a burrito in front of you now. I've got some hot sauce. This was the spice level 2 on Elite Heat. It's not actually that spicy. We're gonna retire this one in favor of a spicier version for future episodes. It's good though. It's like a great hot sauce. And so now we eat a burrito. So this is from a company called MyFitFoods, and I've been trying for a long time to figure out a way to like get stuff that isn't terrible for me that is also not gross. Like I have the problem that I have is that I really like food, right? And so eating something that just tastes like mush or sawdust or whatever is not. I can't force myself to do it, and that's been the downfall of like every diet I've ever had. And so my friend Joel Hooks, who is one of the co-founders of Egghead, if you've seen pictures of him, over the last couple of years, Joel's lost like 100 pounds. He looks amazing. And he did that by training a lot of days. He's like in the gym 5 days a week or something. And he also used this app called Macro Factor. And the whole idea of Macro Factor is it's like, okay, so if you during the day to maintain your weight would burn this many calories, if you want to lose a pound a week, you'd like subtract 500 from that. So that's interesting in and of itself. But then the other piece that's kind of interesting about it is that it doesn't matter what you eat as long as your macros do it. And so Joel made his changes while he was like eating corn dogs and stuff like that. So that got me thinking, like, is there a way to do this that will work for me? And so this is a burrito, and now this is a burrito that's made with ground turkey instead of ground beef or pork or something. So like it's not like a get out of jail free card to eat whatever you want. However, it's still pretty dang good, and it allows me to not be sad about what I'm eating. So forgive me while I try to wolf this down. And if you're very offended by this, come back in like 10 minutes. But yeah, we're going to eat like a whole bottle of hot sauce on this thing. Because one of the problems I found with meal delivery services is that they deliberately underseason everything. So there's like no added salt, no sauces, things like that. So you can hit it with hot sauce, which like a tablespoon of this hot sauce is 10 calories. So, it's basically free. And it really makes things a little easier to eat. So, what's everybody up to? How's your year started? We are, we're halfway through the month? Almost. 14 days into January. How do you feel? How's the year started? Yeah, apologies for turning this into a mukbang. It's definitely not my intention. I really do need to eat, or I'm gonna have a bad time. I didn't eat yesterday. I just felt like crap. So this is gonna be good for all of us. So my plan today, once I finish eating, is I've been working on the software for Elite Heat. And Elite Heat is a game show I've been working on. We've released one episode. There's one more in editing now, and we're recording 10 more next week. So the premise of the show is we have categories on the wheel. The categories are on things kind of full stack web dev stuff, anything from CSS to maybe SQL or SDKs to like dev history or dev lore, right? And spin a wheel, land on a category. We've changed the rules a little bit to make the game flow a bit more. You spin a wheel, you land on a category, and then you're going to answer all the questions in that category. So there's 5 questions per category per round. If you get the answer right, it's worth points. If you get the answer wrong, you have to eat a spicy bite. And at the end of that category, we spin again. The category becomes Leet Heat. So if you land on a Leet Heat tile, you have to take a spicy bite, and then you get to choose your category. So it's a little bit of a, up and down. You have to eat a spicy bite, but then you also get to choose which category you're on. So kind of, your advantage and disadvantage there. But yeah, so that's the plan. So anyways, this is one of the hot sauces from Leet Heat. Let's see, we got questions. 10 in a week, yes. So we can shoot roughly 5 of these a day. And that's the schedule that we're going to go for. Because the big difference between Web Dev Challenge and Leet Heat is that, like, Web Dev Challenge, we film for 8 hours. And then we have to edit 8 hours of footage across multiple cameras down into like a 25 to 30 minute show. With Leet Heat, we're almost running in real time. Like there's very little, like there's a lot of editing, but it's not like finding usable clips. It's more like, getting the timing right, making sure that we're looking at the right person when they eat a spicy bite, stuff like that. And so the filming for an episode of Leet Heat is like 35 to 40 minutes, and the final runtime is like 20 to 25, which gives us the ability to basically like an hour of shooting with 45 minutes of reset between episodes, and we can get 5 done in a day. So what sandwich is this? This is it's kind of a breakfast burrito made with eggs and ground turkey, and doing my best to eat a little healthier this year, because I've realized that I feel very in control of everything in my life except my fitness. That's like the one thing that I've never been able to figure out. And I had some revelations with my relationship to fitness and food. Because, if you've listened to me talking about goals or listened to me talking about the way that I think about making progress, I try really hard not to think about outcomes and instead try to think about, like, how can we build a process that is rewarding in and of itself. And so, the idea of, like, find work that you enjoy, and then you're not necessarily worried about, like, whether or not the outcomes are exactly right. Like, I got exactly this promotion or exactly this title or exactly this raise. It's more like I'm looking forward to getting up and doing the thing that I do every day. And I've done that with my career. I've done that with relationships and social, and I just never did it with fitness. I've always treated fitness exactly the opposite. I've treated fitness like I want to look like that, and so I will suffer until I look like that, which naturally, it like completely breaks my relationship to fitness, where I'm mad about it from the get-go. I don't want to eat the stuff that I'm eating. I don't want to do the workouts. I don't want to, like, I feel like I'm fighting fitness at all times. And so I'm trying to flip that around this year and think about it the way that I think about my job. Fitness is part of my job. And ultimately, like, if I want to take this even further and become somebody who does general TV, the other thing that I'm considering is, like, a distinct advantage is being in better shape. Like, they put hot people on TV because people are shallow, and executives want people that other people want to look at, and they have judged that to be people who are in great shape. So a honest to God strategic move for me is to get in better shape to up my chances of getting into whatever it is. Like if I start looking like, I don't know, I don't even know who I look like. I start looking like freaking Dave Bautista. It's probably easier for me to get a pilot than if I don't, right? I want to be clear, I don't agree with that. But I'm also aware that it's part of the game. And so I can dislike it and also realize that there's an advantage in doing it. So I'm trying to shift my relationship to start thinking about fitness as a part of what I do. And I tried to figure out, what did I enjoy about fitness? Like, there have been points in my life where I've been in better shape, and it was mostly because I outsourced to somebody else. I had a roommate, a really good friend of mine, when I was in my early 20s, and I just did whatever he did. He would cook something, I would eat the same thing he ate. He would go to the gym, I would go to the gym. And I got in great shape because he was a really healthy guy. Naturally, when he moved out, I didn't have any habits. I was just copying whatever he did. So I kind of lost it all. Similarly, I did a coaching program that was very do this, eat this, all that kind of stuff. And that worked. Then I got off the coaching program. And again, I didn't have habits. I had just kind of been following this checklist. So what I'm trying to do is, what have I enjoyed and what can I stick to? And I've always really liked powerlifting, so I'm back in the gym doing powerlifting. It's really fun for me to put up heavy weights. I deadlifted over 400 pounds yesterday, which was a super cool feeling. I'm seeing my weight come back up on bench press, and none of these things matter, but it's fun, right? To me, it's fun, and there's the kind of an inherent reward in doing the work to get stronger like that, in a way that it's never been for, say, circuit training or CrossFit or yoga or any of the other fitness stuff that I've tried. There's no real inherent reward for me in being able to run further. I don't know. I know that for a lot of people that's a super kind of intrinsically rewarding thing to do a marathon or something, but I've never enjoyed running, and I've done a decent amount of it, and as I improve, I'm like, hey, I'm improving. I still hate this. So for me, I feel like the powerlifting it sort of provides an intrinsic reward because I enjoy when I get to put 10 more pounds on a bar, and that I find that intrinsically rewarding, and I don't necessarily need to be, I don't know, rapidly changing what I look like in the mirror to be motivated to go to the gym. And I think that's been the trick for me is I've always pinned my motivation to the end result, which of course, I talk about this all the time in work. It just kind of makes the whole process suck a little bit. And I really want to be somebody who I want to enjoy all the things that I do. And especially if I'm going to start treating my fitness as part of my job, the way I look is part of what I am on camera, which becomes part of my business and all that stuff. If that's the case, then I need to enjoy it. And forcing myself to do stuff I hate because I think that's what I have to do. I've never been good at that. It always leads to some kind of outright rebellion from me. So instead, we're not going to do that. Powerlifting's been good. This eating plan has been good. For example, last week we ordered a pizza and I had leftover pizza, and I figured out that with the calories, a lot of my days I could add one piece of pizza and still fit it within the calories that I had for the day. So I got to eat pizza 3 days last week. It was dope. I didn't feel like I was being deprived or I was dieting. I just had to make sure that the numbers added up, right? And numbers don't scare me. So anyways, I mean, it's only been a couple of weeks, but things are moving in the right direction. I feel stronger. My energy is better. I'm not dreading going to the gym, and that's a first for me. So we'll see how it goes. We'll check back in 6 months and see. But in the meantime. Rough start to the year, Bridgewater. Oh, yeah. It's always tough when I dealt with a few of these this year where people were like, October time, like, that's not urgent. It's not urgent. And then gets into November and they were like, you know what, let's put this off till after Thanksgiving. Then it was after Thanksgiving and they realized, holy shit, we have 3 weeks before everybody's gone for the rest of the year and this needs to be done. And so things just showed up on my desk like, this needs to be done right now. It was a stressful finish to Q4 for me. I've been very happy to see that my I thought I was going to be dead between Thanksgiving and like now. I've been very happy to notice that has not been the case. I'm staying consistently busy. I'm also happy that I'm getting more control over my schedule, where fewer and fewer things are coming in that are like super urgent. And when they do come in urgent, I can usually just say like, I don't have time for that. I'm sorry. And it doesn't mean that I like never get business again. Is Leet Heat 2 cam or 3 cam? Leet Heat is 6 cam. I have a diagram of this actually. I guess I could share my screen. Let's get on this one. Somewhere in here are my, there we go. So let's maximize. And then can I do this one-handed? This is interesting. No, I need to, did I like drag something away? Ah, shit. Can't do one-handed. Oh no. There we go. Okay, so this is the setup on Leet Heat. It's a little bit different than this. This was kind of a planning diagram. So the way that we ended up doing this is we set it out kind of like this. We have Mark standing here. We have the TV here. We've got the podiums and the wheel and everything here. And then we have a red camera. Or no, sorry. This one is the red camera, and you can see the field of view here, kind of. So we shoot that in 8K, and the reason we shoot that in 8K is because we publish in 4K, and that means that any part of this can be zoomed in 2x. Then we have this camera here that is a close-up on whichever contestant is active, and that one is operated by, so this one is just on a tripod and it just sits and runs. This one here is operated by a camera person who is tracking the active contestant. Then we have, so this is another red camera. I think that one's shooting 6K. This is a Canon R5C that's shooting a wide. I think that one's just shooting in 4K, maybe in 6K. And then we have another, why is that selecting things? No, I just want you and you and you. So this camera stays on the host and is also on a tripod being operated by somebody. And then we've got a wide of this going. And then the other thing we added that is not in this diagram is we added a additional camera over here that is on, let's see here. And that camera's on the producer desk. And that's because we realized as we were going that there were like questions for me, or like I made mistakes, and then I had to eat a spicy bite. And so we added the extra camera so that when we cut to me, it's not on this camera person to quickly like get back and forth. So that's a 6-camera setup. Is a burrito a sandwich? 1,000% yes. Every food is either a soup, a salad, or a sandwich. Carnivore doesn't work for me. It makes my stomach hurt. I also realized I don't like restrictions. Like I don't like not being able to eat something. What's up, Tessa? How you doing? Okay, let me put this out of the way. All right, we're back, and I'm not eating anymore. So welcome back to anybody who didn't want to watch me eat. Get a notebook out here so I can see what I told myself I would do. Okay. Now, let's scan the comments real quick, and then we will get into yeah, exactly, right? Like I know I'm so I turned 40 this year. And so for me, I have to be aware that like it felt hard to do fitness stuff at 20. It was much harder to do fitness stuff at 30, and it's even harder to do it at 40, and I know that it's going to be even harder to do it at 50 because things just change. The way our relationship with our bodies, our habits, the just kind of tacit injuries that we pick up that just kind of stay with us forever, all that stuff is just kind of cumulative. And so I'm aware that the best time to do it was when I was 15 years old, and the next best time to do it is now. But let's see. Have I pitched any showrunners yet? I have, indeed, actually. I'm putting together a deck. We're going to see how it goes. I don't know. Well, and so this is important because I think there's a difference between like playing the game and like giving part of yourself up, right? Like this has been something that I've had to balance because, for example, like I think there are things that I don't like that I do. Like I don't know, like I am not opposed. I'm not opposed to AI, but a lot of uses of AI kind of make my skin crawl. I don't like the idea of AI generated art. I just in general I don't think it has enough upside to cancel out the downside. I don't really like the idea of using AI as a like surveillance tool. I don't like the things that it kind of enables from a what would the worst person in the world do if they had this technology, and it's kind of looking like we're about to find out what would the worst person in the world do and they have access to this technology. So that stuff all makes me I have conflicts with that. And I wouldn't do a show where I promoted like surveillance state stuff. I wouldn't do a show where it was focused on generating AI art. I won't prevent somebody from making AI art. Like there have been episodes of Web Dev Challenge where one of the devs wanted to do AI art, and like I'm not gonna say you can't do something, but like I won't, right? And I wouldn't take a like Mid-Journey sponsorship, for example, just because it's not aligned with what I think is good. Now that being said, I won't not work with AI at all, and in fact I have, and so I think the same thing is kind of true about like me wanting to work on fitness because it's an advantage in a shallow market. That doesn't mean that I am going to cast differently, right? Like I really like the way that I cast on the show because it's devs from the community who are actually doing the work, and they represent the whole community. I really like that, and I'm not going to change that. But I will change the way that I look, not for this, but it's, you know, it's kind of, there's a lot of things about it. It's a challenge for me. It's like the one part of my life that I've never felt the same level of control that I feel over like my business or my friendships or things like that. I've always just kind of felt like I didn't understand it. And so it's a puzzle I can solve. And if it leads to more opportunities because shallow people will start to, you know, want to give me stuff because they're shallow, great. Right? Like it's not necessarily for that. But I also don't think that it's compromising any morals, right? I think if I were to flip and say, I want this show to get picked up so only people that are conventionally attractive can be on the show, that would be me compromising my morals. Right. And so I think these lines are different for everybody, and I don't want to claim that I have answers. And I think that when we're doing the calculus of like what's ethical, I mean the hard part is if you do ethics on hard mode, the only ethical thing to do is to just like die. You can't exist without doing harm, and so that does create it means that you have to build an ethical framework that is doing the least amount of harm, and then try your best to not sell that. But I do think to me at least, there's a difference between like distasteful and unethical. You know, I don't love the idea of pretending that AI is going to solve all of our problems, but I don't find it unethical to say that. I do find it unethical to take art from artists and then pretend that that's art. I don't know, and that's my line, right? And yours might be different because ultimately all of AI is trained on other stuff that's copyrighted and whatever. Anyway, I don't want to get into AI here because this is a very deep, awful hole that is going to get really sad. But yeah, and so this has been, I've tried this for myself where I like try not to, and I've just said, you know what, it's fine, it's just a thing that I have to do. And anecdotally, my 30-ish years of evidence is that if I'm not looking forward to something, I will eventually stop doing it. And so finding a way to turn it into not just something that like I like the benefit of it, like I feel better if I go to the gym, because I've been, the last 2 years I've been going to more of a circuit training style gym, and I still do go on Wednesdays because I want some like endurance training, and I still don't really look forward to it. But what I found was like I was always kind of looking for the excuse, like I'm a little stiff today. I don't want to strain my knee. Like let's skip it today. And then I'd always find these ways to kind of take it easy, to go half the workout, whatever. And I just don't do that with powerlifting. Like I genuinely want to do it, and I genuinely want to like see what I'm capable of. So I again, my experience and my outcome here, but like for me at least, if I can find a way to make something like the process itself is enjoyable, then I'm so much more likely to stick to it. And again, this is anecdotal. I'm only a few weeks into this, but so far it feels very different from when I started other programs, because other programs, whenever I started them, I was kind of like, I am motivated to do this program, but I am not excited to do it. And that's been I don't know, that in and of itself is kind of motivating, that I have that opportunity. I found out that Ozempic has, I was because I was looking at it. I got right up to the point of getting a prescription for it, and then I saw, and this is like one study, but I saw a study that the weight loss is like almost half muscle, which really worries me. Not from like and it is what it is. Like, it's fine. You can't lose weight without losing some muscle. But it seemed like a very high proportion of it, to the point that I was a little worried about like what that would mean long term for my health. Because like one of the big indicators of whether or not you get osteoporosis and like whether like for old men, our butts disappear, right? You get like the flat butt old man. That's because like we just lose muscle as we get older, and so doing something that accelerates the loss of muscle freaks me out a little bit. And so I'm not saying I wouldn't, but I'm saying I'm going to try this first. And I think I can get the results I want with this in a way that's enjoyable for me. And if all else fails, then 100%. Yeah. Cause like the other thing too is, there's some stuff that I'm just aware of with my own body that I do think is probably unhealthy. And, heart disease runs in my family. And, my grandpa died when he was like, I think he was like 37, maybe he's 40. He was not very old, of a heart attack. And my dad's had a double bypass, and like there are a lot of reasons for me to not want to put undue strain on my heart. And so I do think that it's very, very important to kind of care about that. If a bear's chasing you, you might reconsider your cardio. That's true. I haven't tried strongman, but I used to train with people who did powerlifting, and it was great. Man, I'm so far behind the comments. I gotta kind of catch up here. But yeah, the strongman stuff is too. I like doing those. I don't like competition, but I like doing those lifts. So like I always trained with powerlifters, but I never did a powerlifting competition. I've done some of the strongman stuff. Like I've done what are they called? The Atlas stones, where you have to like pick them up off the ground and set them up on a pedestal. Like I've done that. That kind of stuff was really fun. The hot sauce I was using is it's the Saucy Beast, which is like a medium hot sauce. It's good. Let's see. I eventually read chat. Sorry, Allie. I also came for the burrito. That sauce was the level 2. So yeah, you tried that. We only had 2 camera operators. That was the other thing. So I probably am going to bump up to a 3rd this time, because I think we need it. Fettuccine. Oh, okay. So every food can be a soup, a salad, or a sandwich. So a fettuccine alfredo is a pasta salad. Easy. I know turning 40 is that's a whole thing. And this is one of my biggest hesitations about trying to get into like mainstream media, because I got a couple intros, great friends introduced me to people who work in the industry, and there's a part of me that I really want to know if I can do it. Like, could I make the transition and make primetime TV? And I believe I'm capable of doing it from a like creative and mechanical standpoint, I think I can make something good. What I worry about is the stories that you hear about how wildly like political and shallow and just odd Hollywood can be. And what I'm trying to balance is knowing how many of those stories also exist about tech and how true that is about pockets of tech, and how many stories we don't hear about companies that run well with good leaders and all that kind of stuff. So the other thing I'm curious about is like, is that true of Hollywood as well, where for every, over dramatic, super shallow, terrible person, there's maybe, one or two producers out there that just do good work and treat people well, and you don't hear about them because they don't do anything newsworthy, which is a good thing. But I don't know, maybe I'm dead wrong. This is a good way. Yeah, if you have to give up your morals to win, then the proper thing is to play a different game. And that's going to be a big point for me, is like, if I start getting into this mainstream media stuff and I realize that the only way I can win is if I have to like do terrible stuff, I'm not going to do, like, I'm fine. I don't need to do mainstream media stuff. That's not, I'll honestly probably make less money if I make a show for a network, because it involves so many different things and the way that the payments work and the residuals, and I think you got to get into unions, and so there's a lot of things that'll get harder and from certain points of view worse doing mainstream media work. And so if it requires moral trade-offs, no chance. Like, no chance am I going to do that. Powerlifting does make your butt huge, and I am very excited about that. Just reading through the comments here, trying to catch back up. Happy New Year. Yeah, okay, all right. So I'm caught back up on the comments. I have eaten my burrito. We are ready to rock. It has been 40 minutes. Good. We're doing good work out here today. So let's talk through a little bit of what I'm working on and see. What is this setup? That's not the right setup. Let's do this one. So here's what I'm working on, right? I have been working through this Leet Heat state machine. And the way that this works is, let's see if I can get it kind of framed up here. It's a little hard to see. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because I've gone through. If you want to see that, you can go through the last show. But the general idea is a game show is very state machine friendly. It's very predictable. You start the game, you enter a round, you spin the wheel. The wheel has two outcomes. You either land on a category or you land on Leet Heat. If you land on a category, you choose a category and start the round. If you land on Leet Heat, you take a spicy bite, then you choose a category and you start the round, right? It's very logical. And so what I wanted to do was map the logic of the game in a state machine. And so that is what I did here. And if we kind of zoom into these pieces here, we can see that we've got, you're ready, and then you actually begin the game, and then you spin the wheel, and when you spin the wheel, you either land on Leet Heat or you land on a category, and then once you land on the category, the host does an announcement, then you start the round, right? It all kind of just moves through, and I added stuff for like undoing if I accidentally click the wrong button or things like that. And that has all led to this software, and I'm gonna close that one for now because this is a project I'm doing to try to rethink this and make it a little simpler. But this then is the code that we've generated. So we've got all the different events that can happen. We have all of so those are the event names, and then we've got the game events. And this is one of those things that if I was better at TypeScript, maybe I would know how to do this, but I want to be able to loop over these, and then I want to be able to build these. Now these are all duplicate, right? And so I have to edit twice whenever I make a change. So I'm sure there's probably a way to make that better. I don't know what it is. So then you get your state machine, you set up your types. So that's the game and the game events that we set up above. The game itself is like the categories for the episode, the questions for the episode, who the contestants are, what the current round is, current category, current question, and that's it. I thought there was a little more, but that's it. So then you kind of end up, you have your list of actions, and each of these actions allows you to do a thing. So when you begin a game, you are able to check that one of the contestants is the round leader. They'll spin first, and then you return that data. Same with setting a category. We set the current category. So all that good stuff. So going in, then we have, let's collapse the actions. Then we have guards. So things like, is the category complete? We check to see if we grab all the questions that are in this category and in the current round, and then we check if every one of them has been marked as complete. And if so, then the category is complete, and we make a different choice, right? So in here, what we're doing is we have our states, we're ready to begin, and then we begin the game, which takes us to spinning the wheel after running the begin game action. And you can see all that visualized up here, where we're ready to begin. We click the begin game event, which then runs the begin game action and lands us on spinning wheel. So that's the kind of core of a state machine. And I took all of that and I put it into this controller up here. And now this is code that I'm kind of working it out as I go. So fair warning, it's a little bit intimidating in here because this is very unoptimized, very like, let's just get it to work, and then I'll go back and think about what I've done. I'm also getting weird TypeScript errors, which I'm trying to work through. All sorts of fun stuff going on. But so let's take a look. So we've got a handle event thing, and that will do stuff like and see like this. I've already learned that this is wrong and I need to do this differently, but I can solve that later. By default, we send the event type, right? Easy peasy. So then out here, we are building out like an overview of the current game status. That's got what the current round is, current category, how many questions are left in the category. And all of this comes out of our state machine's context. So we have the ability to just very quickly kind of build out the UI that we want based on the state machine. And so for the number of questions left in the category, we can just do a quick thing on the context. If you find the ones that are not complete, who's next to spin, we check for the round leader. Who's buzzed in, we check for who's buzzed in. And then we have our controls, which is like the thing that's coming. So if the state is spinning the wheel, then I can give some instructions to the producer, because presumably someday it might not be me. And I don't want to have to memorize this anyway, so there are instructions for me as well. Same thing here, just a handful of places we have different instructions for what the current thing is. And then we get down into, let's see, these are all still states. Then we have our buttons of things that people can do. And so for ones that are handled separately, I just skip them all together. For things that are standard, we just run them like this. And if they have specialty stuff, like this one, for example, we can loop through the context to find all the categories and then build out special buttons that have all of the categories that we want, right? Easy peasy. So that all results in this app. And I have it set up to be, I want it to eventually use the slug to pull in the right episode data. It doesn't do that right now. But so you begin the game, and I've got the whole state machine down here, so you can kind of see what's going on, right? Why is it got a weird? I don't know what that is. So then you begin the game. All right, so we've begun the game, and now you can see down here we've got all of our categories. We've got what the current round is won. No question or category is selected. What the individual questions are. Then we've got the contestants and some details about the contestants, like which questions they got right, which ones they got wrong, whether they're buzzed in, whether they're the round leader. And I could probably fix, like, I've been wondering if I should pull some of these things out. Like this is buzzed in, maybe that should be up at the top level, and like round leader, maybe that should be up at the top level. I can't make up my mind because there are reasons to do it both ways. But so anyways, this is kind of an intimidating JSON object that boils down into this UI. So we're spinning the wheel, and then once I've spun the wheel, depending on what I land on, so let's say I land on auth, and then I have the undo here. Like if I clicked the wrong thing, I can go back, and let's say I actually landed on accessibility. Then I can begin the round, and we've got a timer for how long the question has been on the screen. So if we run out of time, we hit time is up, and it marks that question done. And then it, doesn't change anybody's score or anything. Once we ran out of questions, so I've just got test questions in to make this fast, we get to the end of the category, and then that's a chance for Mark to make a note, introduce the contestants, talk to somebody, do some banter, whatever it is. When we're ready, we move on to the next thing. So we spin the wheel again. We click, we get one of these, I buzz in, I get the answer right. And so now I've got 100 points, right? Then we are at the end of this category, so we spin again. I land on Leet Heat. So you can see my spice level goes up. I'm told to eat a spicy bite, and then I get to choose my category, and I'm going to choose CSS. And then we begin the round, and let's say Marissa buzzes in, and she's wrong. And then I buzz in, and I'm also wrong. You can see now we both lost 100 points, so I'm back to 0. And now, ooh, look at that. We got we got a bug because my heat level should have gone up. I should be at 2. But I have a fix for this because now I have the ability to just manually update and fix things to make them right, which I didn't have in the first episode, which is why when you watch the first episode, you will notice a point where I gave points to the wrong contestant, and we just had to live with it because the alternative was to go back and watch the tape and figure out what everybody had said so far to rebuild the state machine properly, and we didn't have time for that. So, yeah. We are, I believe that is what a state machine is also known as. Yeah, I think so. Is X state deterministic finite automata? State machines. Does it say automata in here anywhere? They don't use that word, but I think so. I don't know. Let's see. So what I'm working on, ideally, eventually, will be for both. So right now, this is the screen that I'm looking at when I'm playing the show. So as we're filming, I'm running like the brain of the show, and this, like what I'm doing here, will determine what displays on the podium. It's what displays on. Mark is holding a tablet that's got like details about what the next question is, who's the round leader, et cetera, et cetera. And then also what's on the big board behind him, right? That's all derived from the state that I'm creating here. So right now it's built for that. I'm controlling the motion of the show, and then when I do something, we end up getting to a state, right? So like this will be showing up on the screen, and then I would just say, oh, time's up, right? And then we move on. And so Mark would then see, like, read the answer. So that's the idea. But what I would like this to eventually be is also the brain for an online version where we could automate some of these things. Like the timer will automatically transition to the next question if you miss it. or if nobody buzzes in, right? And so then you could play online with, you know, head to head with friends or something, potentially play it like at home on the couch with like people on their phones. That would be the goal, is to get to that point. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to put it into a state machine, because almost everything is exactly the same. The only real difference is that we would need, instead of me pushing things through, we would need a few automations, like some timers, and a few points where the contestants will push a button on their screens to say, like, you ready for the next question? And then you hit yes. So that would be the thing. You can represent finite state automata with X state, but the concept there is state charts instead, not necessarily finite. Okay, all right. This is where my computer science knowledge, or lack thereof, starts to kind of fall apart. But yeah, that's definitely want to run this in player mode. Like, that's the eventual goal, is for this to be something that I could like open up and anybody could come and play. And like Jeopardy even has a thing where part of the way that you apply to be on Jeopardy is you play an online round of Jeopardy, which I thought was really cool. I thought I was just doing like a test play, and then I realized that I accidentally applied to be on Jeopardy. They didn't call me. So, won't be on Jeopardy. But it's okay. I have my own game show. Suck it, Trebek. It's going to be a great moment for anybody who hasn't seen that skit. Anyways. But so, okay, so we have a bug. And my bug was that we don't properly increment the spice level when you get it wrong. So let's go, I need to rename these, because I feel like these are, I'm feeling the pain of my own naming convention, where like I named things clearly, but not in a way that makes them like, there's no grouping, there's no like contextual clue as to like where we are in the game. So I think I want to figure that out, which is part of why I've got my copy of this going, that I'm using to kind of like rewrite the state machine in more clear terms. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. Leet heat categories that could be read by Connery. I'll tell you what, you come up with enough of these and I will make that skit. We'll make it as one of the commercials for Leet Heat, because that would be extremely funny, actually. Okay, so when we have our contestant buzzes in, the contestant answers, and then when the contestant is answering, when you get it incorrect, should be increasing their spice level. Now, why wouldn't we... Okay, let me ask a question, y'all. So I agree that it's funny to zero index the spice level. That was a good, like, people who said that in the comments, I thought that was a great idea. However, should it be that there is a 0 spice level sauce, or should it be that when you land on Leet Heat or get a question wrong, your spice level increases and then you have to eat that level of spice? So the change would be, like, in a 0 indexed spice rack, it would be when you land on Leet Heat, you eat the spicy bite at level 0, and then your increase to 1. The other way, which is what I think I've built for and then broken by trying to rearrange things, is that you would start at 0, but when you land on Leet Heat or have to eat a spicy bite, the spice level increments to 1, you have to eat sauce level 1, and then anytime that the thing happens, you would have to get more. If I take this and I move it back to answer is incorrect. These TypeScript errors are I think I figured out what I did wrong, but I'm still very frustrated with what, like, something weird happened and I haven't had time to like go through and fix it, but I'm not getting them in my copy where I'm rewriting. So I know that it's something fixable. I just haven't figured out where exactly it breaks, and the types in XState are like gnarly. But so let's talk about how this would work. Let's begin the game. We do one of these, we do one of these. I buzz in. I am incorrect. I am incorrect. I am broken. Expected event, answer is incorrect. Oh, I moved my guards. So that means... And this is where things get goofy, because, and this is why I also think they tell you not to do that. And it is, answer is incorrect. The refactor on this is going to be wild, I think. This machine stopped, so okay, let's try again. Get my round. I buzz in. I'm incorrect. Spice level didn't increase. Why? Do I need... Contestant is buzzed in. So what has gone wrong here? We've got, here's my contestant. I am buzzed in. So that should have worked. Now, why didn't that work? Oh boy. All right, let's, I guess, just double check that it's running at all. And so we'll do one of these, incorrect. Okay, so we're booping appropriately. Now let's get in here and let's figure out, I have too much stuff on my screen. Let's get some stuff off my screen. That'll make my stress levels lower, I think. Okay, so 0 level sauce and it's just mayonnaise. Oh, that's funny. That's very funny. Ketchup also would be very funny. I make that joke to my mom all the time because, like, my mom's super Midwestern and does not eat spicy food. Although I've been proud of her. She has a friend who's from the Philippines who's been actually giving her spicy food, and she's eating it. Like, she's trying it. She wouldn't try it before. And so that's growth. Proud of my mom. Okay. So why the hell doesn't this work? We're getting the thing to execute. So then what that means is we are... Oh, I know why. It's because of this. Our guard is wrong. So we moved it, right? I need to fix that. See, and this is where I know I've done something kind of goofy with my choices, because now it's working. All right, let's do that again. Gets it right, gets the score. Okay, let's go in here, begin the round. Here, still working. Here, still working. And yeah, okay, so that's all doing what we want. Good. So, leet heat. That's not good. We lost our round leader somehow. Okay, so we need to fix that. Let's see if we can recreate that. So we had me here. I buzz in. I'm incorrect. Continue. That shouldn't clear the round leader. So let's go back. Nothing should really clear the round leader. Increase answer here. Clear buzzed in is fine. Okay, so this is apparently, that one's fine. Clear category, set category. Undo buzzed in contestant. Track correct answer, that's fine. Incorrect answer also. Oh, see this? Incorrect doesn't necessarily disqualify you. Because if everybody gets it wrong, you're still the round leader. So that should fix it. So incorrect, still the round leader, not the round leader anymore. So that means, did I not save this? Is round leader false? And that's increased point. Why the heck? No, absolutely incorrect. Why did I even do that? Set round leader. This is the only time you want the round leader. So here we go. Begin here. Begin round. Incorrect. Should. God damn it. Is round leader. Set as round leader. That's the only time that anybody should be setting this at all. You. Yes. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. This is not fine. What else we got? I'm in the right thing, right? Yeah, okay. So we begin the game. One of these, one of these, one of these, one of these. How? There's not even anything to set you. How on earth? What would cause that to happen? I have a rubber duck to debug. Tell me what I've done wrong. Oh man, I didn't mean to drop you on your face. I'm sorry, buddy. What have I done? What caused this? Who have I offended? He's not talking. Okay, so let's start debugging. Does the reset, so nothing should reset. If that's happening, I've introduced a hell of a bug. So instead, what I'm looking for is when we are incorrect, answer's incorrect, that takes us to the spicy bite, which then this is the only thing happening, which means that this must be causing our problem, but this is not doing that. And also, is that... Let's just see what that actually spits out. So here, 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 here. So Marissa is the leader. Oh, wait, no. Oh my God. I'm looking at the buzzed in box. Of course she's not buzzed in anymore because it's the buzzed in box and her turn is over. So I buzz in. Okay. And then I'm incorrect, and then we continue. No one's got the answer. Okay, so... See, but now why am I buzzed in? We got weird stuff going on here. Okay, so here, 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 incorrect. I'm not buzzed in. Marissa buzzes in, incorrect. Still buzzed in. So why are we not getting buzzed in? And the reason that would happen is, answer is incorrect, okay? But then we go here, we wait for the buzzer, and that takes us back to contestant answering, right? And then if they are incorrect, we go to eating spicy bite. And we need to clear it in the else case as well. Okay, so that should solve the problem. So here, done, not buzzed in. I buzz in, I'm wrong, not buzzed in. Okay, good. So then we move on. Scores are all looking right. We'll continue, roll elite heat. Then we choose accessibility. Begin round, buzz in, I'm correct. Okay, that's all looking good. Go here, I'm incorrect. Marissa is correct, so that takes everything right there. Okay, good. Here, incorrect, incorrect. Everything, I think, is working. So now we're in round 2. I've only got questions on 2 categories for round 2 right now for some testing. I also wanted to make sure that empty categories wouldn't show up because that causes a bug. So we'll say Marissa lands on elite heat, so spicy bite, then choose a sequel. Here, gets the question, good. Here, gets it wrong. I get it right. Now we get to the final category, and I haven't built this part yet. Because I may have mentioned this before, but we decided in episode 1 and 2, all we had was 2 rounds, and the problem was that there was a point in round 2 where somebody could get a lead that was like, that was it. The show was technically over. Like there was no comeback available. And so we added 2 things for that. One is you lose points when you get something wrong. So that gives an opportunity for the score to move in both ways. And 2, in this final round, in round 3, we're going to do it just like Final Jeopardy. We're going to reveal a final category. You're going to make a bet on how confident you are you're going to get the question right. Then we're going to make you take the spiciest possible bite on the show. And then you get your question and you have to answer it. And if you get it right, you get your points that you bet. If you get it wrong, you lose the points that you bet, right? So it's a chance for a big final comeback, and also it guarantees that everybody has to take the spiciest possible bite. So that's going to be fun. End of category is doing something different. Okay, let's reload and let's review this and see what's going on. Okay. Search. One question in the category. We begin. We'll say that that's the end of the category. So the buzzer's cleared. We kept our round leader. There's no questions left. The current category is cleared. We're still in round one. Then we continue. So Marissa spins. She gets elite heat. Spice level goes up. Accessibility. Category is chosen. One question left in the category. She's the round leader. And she's not buzzed in yet. Nobody's buzzed in yet. So we begin the round. I buzz in. I get it right. Okay. So category's cleared. Still in round one. Now I'm the round leader, so I spin. We'll say I get elite heat. And then I'll choose CSS. Begin the round. I buzz it in. I get that one right. Then I buzz in on this one. I get this one wrong. Category's doing what I want. And we'll say Marissa buzzes in and gets this one right. So category's ended. No questions left. Category's cleared. And we move on. And then we choose another category. We begin the round. We'll say that Marissa buzzes in and gets this one incorrect. So spice level's up. Nobody got this one. So then we continue. Category's over. Everything's looking the way I would expect. Have Marissa spin the wheel. She gets elite heat. And then we choose one of these. And then we begin the round. And she buzzes in. And she's correct. So now she's leading. Round leader, all that stuff. Category's over. And this should take us to round two. So that's round two. I probably could make that better. Where maybe once the category is over, it goes to that's the end of the category page as opposed to, or that's the end of the round kind of page. M. Huggins, did you see whatever it was you saw before? Let me just do this one more time. We'll begin the round. We'll do a buzz in. Actually, we'll undo that. We'll say time is up. Okay, then we'll continue. And this is my big chance for a comeback. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to get it wrong. Ah, shit. Then Marissa's going to get it right. Now we're in the final category. Everything's cleared. Everything's looking right. And everybody's spice level went up by 1 because we're in the final category. And then when we click this, it would show what the final category was. We can place our wager, and at that point we're done. There's not anything left for us to do. I should figure out actually how this works, because if you get into the final round and you're negative points, what does that mean? Can you still wager? So if you're negative points on Jeopardy, you just have to you get 0 points, and you got to hope that the other person wagers enough that they can go negative, or do you just not play? You're out. Oh, so if you get to negative, you're just out. That is interesting because Jeopardy has 3 players, which would mean that if somebody goes out, there's still kind of like the head-to-head on the final 2. But that wouldn't work on a 2-player game, like Jacob said. So I think maybe let's see. I mean, I really hope no one ever ends up in negative points. Yeah, this is a good question, is has that ever happened? There hasn't been an instance where all 3 players finish Double Jeopardy with 0 or negative scores. Tiebreakers. I haven't thought about tiebreakers at all. I think we'll just have people rock, paper, scissors because that seems funny to me. No winner. There is no returning champ if all 3. Okay, so we aren't doing returning champs yet. I would love to bring that in. It just becomes kind of a whole thing. Wild cards, we're not doing wild cards. All contestants negative. So they're just straight up saying if everybody's negative, they don't play. That's kind of wild. Also, what is wrong with this website? Huh. Okay. So that one, I guess because I could just say you get 100 points to wager with. Hey, wait, why didn't that work? I said 100 points. My thingy is broken. Oh, my state machine stopped because we didn't have a state for place wager. Okay, that's different. This is such a good idea, and I feel like that. So the challenge is fitting this into the time. Like I want these episodes to run ideally about 18 minutes, and they're definitely longer than that. Because that's just how long a show like this typically is, and I don't want to get too cocky about how long a single episode of a game show can hold somebody's attention. So my hunch is that we've got about, we might have to cut round short as is to stay on schedule. I need to play test the final round. But God, that would be funny. Do like a whiteboard challenge that's worth 500 points, or a whiteboard challenge that brings you to 500 positive points so that you have something to wager. But I don't know if that would fit. I don't know. I hope I don't have to find out this time around. Yeah, this is a good, I mean, it's an edge case. I'm inclined to not try to handle this right now because I'm reasonably confident that given 50 questions, and like my goal, my heuristic for this is I'm trying to get questions at a level where a dev who's been exposed to the material at any point in their career should be able to answer like 7 to 8 out of 10. And you know, because again, like it wouldn't be fun to watch a game show where everybody got every answer wrong. Like that's not, we don't want that. It also isn't fun to watch a game show where we at home don't know any of the answers. So I'm telling people, like, if you're an expert in this, probably a lot of these answers are going to feel too easy, but that's sort of the point because you don't want it to be like, we're not out to prove how smart we are through our question writing. We're out to make a fun game. And for somebody who has any CSS exposure, a CSS question should feel attainable. For somebody who doesn't have CSS exposure, like if you've always worked in databases and backends, you're kind of hosed no matter how much, like how hard or easy these questions are. And that, I think, will be the fun of the game, is that we're going to see people who have like specialties and they're going to absolutely dominate one category and then just get destroyed in another. And I think, to me, I think that's really funny. Let's see. Buy back points by eating spicy bites. Maybe we could just do like a double spicy bite, and that gets you to a wager level that could maybe bring you within. So like in this case, maybe eating the double spicy bite would bring you up to 200, where you could win if Marissa gets it wrong and wagers 200 points or more. I just hope we don't have to come to that. It would be, what I really want is I want everybody to end with like ballparky scores where there's like a chance. You have to eat the delta of points and spice. Oh my God. You just got to take a shot of the hottest hot sauce. No, I'm not going to do that, because people do sign a medical waiver to come on this show, but I don't want to like test the limits of that. But so I think we've got that part of the software then is doing what I want it to do. Yeah, I don't want to prioritize making it even. I do think that, like, you know, if you got a bad round, you got a bad round, and sometimes it's going to be a bummer. What would be, to me, a sign of bad game design is if that's every episode, right? If every single time somebody is like coming out with negative points or barely getting any points or something, that to me sounds like question design is wrong or casting is doing something weird. So I need to, you know, look into that a little bit and just keep an eye on it, because I think occasionally somebody's going to have a bad round. Like, they're just going to get unlucky and they're going to hit a string of questions that they don't know the answers to. That's how Jeopardy rolls, right? And the same here, where like you may be a CSS expert, but like you don't know a lot about container queries. And it just so happens today was the day that we put 4 container queries questions in. And so you get rolled on the one category that you felt strongest in, and like the other categories are, like, I don't know, machine learning or something, and you have no idea what any of that is. Like, it's going to happen. We're going to have bad days. And I do think that is okay. I think the trick will just be, that should feel like an exception, not the rule, would be my hope. Yeah, we'll see. And who knows, like maybe I will, as we're playing, change my mind on like the point loss thing. Although I do think point loss is a good idea. I also might institute some kind of a penalty if like somebody just sits out, because that was something I worried about too, is like, if we get through this game and nobody even tries any of the questions, that feels like a huge bummer. So maybe we I mean, I have an override capability. I can just straight up give people spicy bites whenever I want. So if I feel like people aren't in the spirit of the game, I can just start making them eat hot wings. Okay, let's see if we can do. I want to fix. There are a couple things that I need to fix. Why? Do you see how many text messages I have? Is there like a group chat going on here? Something going on? No, everything is fine. Okay, just my family getting in the group chat. Just like, that was a lot of text messages. I don't usually get that many. So okay, let's do 2 things. One, I currently have a thing that I know is gonna get me in trouble later, which is I have this this begin game thing doing Where is it? Begin game. Here. This should not be the way that I've done it. It should instead be an actor. I found this yesterday when I was looking for an example of something completely unrelated, and I saw how somebody had done this, and so I want to fix it. So let's go to the XState docs, which I want GitHub actually. XState. And the one that I was looking at was was it Snake? No, it was this trivia game example, because they had one. I was like, oh, did somebody already build this for me? And it was kind of similar, but a different general thing. But look at this. They have actors. And I was like, what the heck is an actor? And then I started looking into it, and you can just do this from promise thing. So I want to do that. And the way that'll work is I'm going to take this load game context, and I'm going to head over to my game. And let's collapse our actions, our guards, and then down here I'm going to add actors. And my actors, we're going to have one called load game context. And it works by using something called from promise that's going to come in from XState. And that takes a function like this. And then it's going to return load game context, which I will import like so. Okay. And so that's my actor. And now what I want to do is I want to use this. So let's look at how this is actually being done. And that it does an invoke. And then on done, it moves to data loaded. So it invokes the actor. When it's done, it assigns the stuff to the context. And then it goes to its next target, which is data loaded, which then gives us the ability to play. So the way that we would want this to work then is we would have homepage. So on begin game, we would want to do probably want to do like a load data. This is going to yell at me because it's not set up yet. Then we're going to invoke, and the source is going to be our load game context. And then we need an on done. And that is an object. And that gets actions. And our action is going to be to assign. And really, I want to actually assign the whole thing. So we're going to, let me double check that that's how that works. Context, data, context. Okay. And then back in my game, we run begin game, which has our event, checks a random okay. So I can assign, you get so the event is what comes out of this. And it comes in as output. So if I return the output event like that, and then we're gonna just do event.output. I think that'll do the whole thing. And then we do our target, and that would be begin game. No. That would be spinning wheel. Actually, that would just mean that then this then becomes this. This gets dropped out. And then out here in my producer, this one just becomes this, but I have to go back out here into my type definitions and change this to not have any data. Okay, so if I did that right, which things are yelling at me, which means that I didn't. Let's hold off on that one. Object literal. See, this is what I'm talking about, where I did something wrong, because it shouldn't be complaining about this, because this is a real thing. There's the state, there's invoke. But I've got something going weird. Because this, well, I guess we'll see. This should work. So let's refresh. Where are you? That goes to the thing. Are you broken, or are you just doing something weird? Ready to begin. Ready to begin has a begin game, right? Now begin game is here, and out here we should be beginning the game. Now why wouldn't that show up? Are we doing something weird out here for... Here's my begin game. You should be here. One, two, three. Okay, all three of you exist in the way that I would expect. Right? So this doesn't even need to exist anymore, in fact. Ready to begin. Does it need... on begin game. Let's see, maybe they use actors differently somewhere else. Let's see. load characters. Load random character. I don't know. What do you think, y'all? Am I missing something obvious here? Source should be load game context. On done. But I should have to fire this event for something to happen. So let's just uncomment this and see if it immediately comes back. It immediately comes back. So which of these things makes it show up as a thing? Initial, ready to begin. It's not the state, right? It's the... What is the state? State, load characters. Yeah, what's up?
What were the dates for your shoot?
23rd and 24th.
23rd, 24th. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm doing this wrong. Because it has to be on the state, not on... It's not a transition, so it's like an immediate thing. So I think what it needs to do then is load game context, right? And then all of this comes down here. And then all of this comes back. But it's going to live up here. And this instead is going to go like this, which will then... Aha! What? Undone. Oh, undone goes inside the... Okay, that should do it. So let's try this. So this should take us to load game context, which should fire this actor, which loads the game context and then sets the context to the output, and then takes us to spinning wheel. Let's see if that works. Hey, look at that. That's pretty cool. Okay, so that's some cleanup that we can do that makes life a little bit easier. And now it's all contained inside of the state machine instead of me having weird stuff out here. So I can go clean all this crap out. And that makes life easier. So then up here, we don't need this loader anymore. Good. Then... that feels... yeah, everything we wanted is in there. Okay, so good news. So then other things that I was looking at doing, we need... So the other thing that we need to do is we need to take the context and we need to put that context up on convex. And the reason we're using Convex is I want the real time that Convex provides, and eventually that'll make it possible for us to like create individual games, because we'll be able to create a game. That game will have players. Those players will, like, not 100% sure how I'm going to do questions and stuff, just because it's a lot of work to make the questions for these. Like, honestly, that's been the biggest challenge. Because even with the sponsors helping, like, it's 50 questions per episode, and those questions have to be leveled appropriately, and we have to make sure that, like, you'll notice I screwed this up a couple times where in the previous episodes, actually, maybe you didn't notice because maybe movie magic hid it from you, but there were points where I had just forgotten to replace the answer with the one that I'd copy pasted from before. So I had to go look it up really quick. Or like it would just say B, but it wasn't a multiple choice question anymore. Stuff like that, right? That work needs to be done. And I posted on Instagram about how it was this photo of me like sitting in the middle of the Elite Heat set, and I was in just full panic because the night before I had been trying to finish the software and it wasn't quite there. So the day of, I had to finish the software and load all the questions in, and it was madness. It was a lot. I was definitely leveraging, like, hey, ChatGPT, take this copy pasted block and turn it into JSON so that I can do this. I also, check this out. I figured out that I never thought I'd hear myself say this, but YAML is really good for this type of data because it doesn't have a bunch, like, comparatively, this is what the categories looked like in JSON. Here's what contestants look like in JSON. Here's what questions look like in JSON. And then when you switch over to YAML, it's a little more human readable. Same here. And then the questions get much more human readable. So for somebody who, like, looking at something like this is much easier for a sponsor to generate than this. Because it's just, this is kind of it's a pain, right? And this is just a little bit easier to deal with, and there are fewer weirdnesses that you have to do. Oh, yeah, yes, you definitely got you got the hard version of this show for sure. But yeah, this should make life a little bit easier for the contestants, and it's from a functional standpoint. I have a Veet plugin that where's my Veet setup here? I have a Veet plugin that just lets me import YAML, which turns it into a JSON object anyway. So functionally, it's no different. I built my little. I put this in a loader for reasons unbeknownst to me. And really all I'm doing is just importing. And this is one of the things that I got to fix, because right now this is hard-coded, so every episode I'm going to have to change this, and I don't want to. What I should do, because it would, like, committing the code directly to the repo sort of just creates an opportunity for people to cheat. Whereas if it's in a database, it's a little bit less... you could still do it, but you got to work a little harder to do it. And then, like, for Seva, I'll have to figure out a way to, if you want to keep doing these, I'll figure out a way to get the info to you that is not you having to scrape in a weird way. Yeah, this could be a thing to solve. Because I don't think I want to mess with the data format. I do want to mess with the data format, because I do think that there is an improvement to be made in my types here, where some of the stuff, like who the who the round leader is and who's buzzed in, that probably should just live up here. I don't know that I want to refactor it before this filming, just because it works now and I need to put my energy into getting the questions in and done. But as a 2.1, because this is 2.0, the 1.0 was I was doing Party Kit to like send live WebSocket stuff, but it was just objects that I was throwing around, and that was mostly fine. But it was a lot, and I was running into some weirdness where just things that persistence would help me solve. But yeah. Windows snippet and image to text. Oh, geez. Yeah. I think a database CMS kind of approach would be really good. I started looking at maybe Sanity would solve this and let me do it, but I feel like that was kind of hard from a data entry standpoint because you gotta like go through this process every time. I wanted batch entry, and everybody who's working on this is a developer or developer adjacent. And I just don't know that I'm going to come up with anything that's more like this feels about the friendliest way to do these questions that I can think of. And if I want to then import these into a database, that's really straightforward. Like pulling the records in and create many from this file that's not a hard thing to do. But from a like data entry standpoint, I don't know that anything is going to be. I haven't found in my 4 or 5 different attempts anything that feels easier than this. So this is where I've landed for now. That being said, I do think in like the 2.1 version, I probably want to mess with improving the game state a bit, and a couple other things like that. Or like, I don't know, maybe there's something I could do in Sanity that would allow me to do like batch entry or something. I'm sure that that team is pretty sharp. They probably have a solution I haven't thought of. But yeah, let's do the database thing. I think that's the right call. Let's see how far we can get on that today. So let's see where I left off. Contestants. So that gives us a name. And honestly, I think I might leave. How do I want to do this? I mostly just want to put the context directly into the database. Because I think if I put the context into the database, then when I get changes, it'll just load into the let's set up a proof of concept because I think this will be important. What I want is here's my routes. Let's do the screen. And what I want is for the state, like the game context, to just be brought in, and we'll just display that for now. So to do setup convex query, and then this would be to do load game from convex, and we're just going to say context, I guess, because it won't be the full state, and that's going to be for now just one of these, and we'll set that up in a pre that we can JSON stringify context, and we'll null to it. Okay. And so what I want is for my context from the producer screen, when I hit key places, I want to be able to fire an action that just syncs that state to the database, to Convex. And then that state will automatically push here. And so what we should see is that that state will update while we make changes in the game. And then we'll be able to use that state to derive whatever the current view on the screen should be, which is mostly going to be in all cases, a simplified version of this. Like the podium is basically like right podium gets this subset, left podium gets this subset, main screen gets, and honestly, we might even be able to keep some of this stuff. Like main screen gets, hey, spicy bite for Jason. That could be kind of fun. But it'll get this without the correct answer being highlighted, and well, probably without the timer, because we don't want that to be. Right now, I don't want that to be on screen. Maybe we'll bring that back later and do some kind of a fun like animation thing. But for now, this is fine. But it won't have buttons and things like. It's just going to be this subset, right? So I need a way to do that, and the way we're going to do it is we're going to. First and foremost, we're going to use the type of our working game context. So this is our current game context. And I guess to do this, I'm going to need all of these things. So yeah, we need all of this. So let's get all of these things and come back in here. Is there an easy... I feel like there might be an easy way to do this. Zod to convex. Well, hold on. Because I want it for the schema. No. I don't think so. I bet I could make this work, but honestly, I don't love this idea of kind of getting into I know it's an official package, but like going from Zod through a helper package into the thing as opposed to, I think I'll just rewrite the schema, because I think that'll make everyone's life a little easier in the long run. Because yes, it's a pain in the ass to have to do the extra bits, but I don't want to have to like reverse engineer how I worked around that in the future if I do. And you know, I've heard, I don't know how much of a priority is, but I've heard that the Convex team is trying to make that a little more of a first-class citizen, where you can just, you know, say like, I'm going to use Zod. I think the restriction is that things that would be reported as true in Zod can't be enforced at a database level, because some of the stuff like email and things, there's not like an email field, there's just a text field, right? So it's not technically enforced. And one of the things that Convex does is its validation is intentionally limited, because that way it's enforced the same way at the database. So you can be confident that what's in the database is being validated in the same way as what's in your JavaScript, which is good. However, things like some of the stuff I'm doing in here is not exactly translatable over. But what I can do is I can, we're not going to use this ID because we're going to get one auto-generated by Convex. I think we can just do we get like a default or anything? No. Do we get a default in here? Default? No. I feel like there's a way to do this. Convex schema default value. There it is. Maybe not. Default field value, default field value. Oh, we're opening up Discord. That's cool. You can search Discord. Okay, so they just want you to do... You build your own defaults on your own like that. Okay, so that's fine. We can do that. Okay. So we don't get any defaults. We'll have to figure those out later. I think these are like, yeah, you gotta wrap them like this, which is a whole thing. It's fine. Let's do one of these. We'll do one of these. That's fine. How do we feel about this? Does this feel good? I think that's okay. Now, what I'm going to do, though, is I think I'm going to... Well, let's see how far we get on these, because I think I'm just going to combine it all into one big object. And see... Okay, so we don't get sets. Do we get record? That wouldn't be a record. That would be an array. We don't get defaults. We just get arrays. Okay. Then for the categories, just get those. That's fine. Then with this, we aren't going to get a record, are we? We are. Ooh, neat. Okay, good. So we do get a record. We just have to... Oh, it has to be a record, which the other one wasn't. It was an array. Okay, so then we have one of these, one of these, one of these. We don't get to force the length. That's fine. Zod will do that for us, and then we're just kind of syncing all this stuff together. And we're going to have to set these ones as v.optional so that they don't throw validation errors. And then we're going to find out how much of that is going to get super weird. So let's do this. Let's then take... Game is going to be game context... Probably just set it as context, yeah? And then that one is going to be a define table. And then these ones I don't need anymore. These are all kind of my like prior exploration. So let's set our context here, and then we're going to... Let's just find out what happens, right? What's the worst that can happen? It's going to yell at us? That's fine. I've been yelled at by a computer before. Let's npx convex dev.
You getting out of tech, Fuzzy? Where are you going? Cannot find name Z. Oh no. Schema validation complete. Functions ready. Okay. Well, that might have just worked, so that'd be neat if that just worked. Let's then go and do a context.ts. This is going to be how we set our functions up. And in convex, there's a nice convex.dev. Where's the docs? Let's start with the mutation because we're just going to drop the mutation in. And this is going to be we're going to import mutation from generated server. And then we're also maybe going to need we might be able to just like import our whole context here. Maybe. That'll be this. This will be game context, and that way we can import this game context into here as our validation. Okay, so then we have our functions themselves. So we export const, and we're gonna say save, or we'll just say update. Naming things is hard. So the way that I want this to work for now is we're going to set a unique identifier, which will be the slug that lives in the URL. That unique identifier will then be used as the way to target which one of these we're gonna. Why don't we call it upsert? Because that seems like a good way to go. We'll make it more explicit. Create or replace, because that's what's ultimately going to happen, right? It's going to create or replace a thing. That uses a mutation, and then we get our args, which are going to be game context, and then the handler is going to be our async, and that gives us our context and our args, and we're going to just probably pull the game context, or no, we're not. And we can, let's, ID is going to be await context dot db oh no, is this going to make me do, what if I just try to replace? Have to have an ID for it to be replaced. But I don't want to use that ID. I want to use my ID. Still need an ID for that. Context ID. Okay. So to do this right, I'm going to need a context. Well, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to do anything I don't want to do. So what we're going to say is we're going to say existing table or existing context, and that's going to be await context db query. And I'm going to query the context table. And to filter, we get our query. And that's going to be Q equals, and we want the left and right are going to be things. And so what I want is for, oh, this means we're going to need to actually track that slug. That's okay. We can do that. So let's go back to our types, and we're going to add in our game the slug, and that's going to be a Z string, right? And then in our loader, I need to set the slug, which for now is going to be season 1, episode 3. Right, so now the type expects that. And then in our schema, we need to include our slug, which is a string. And now in our context, we're going to check that the slug equals game context slug. And we'll say first, because we really just need the first one. If, because this should either be existing context or it will be null. So if existing context does not exist, then, oh my goodness, there we go. Then we will create a new I don't know. We need this to have a name. So if the context exists, we're going to set the row ID to be await context database replace, and that, or if it doesn't, oh sorry, if this doesn't exist, we're going to insert, and that would be inserting into context, and then the value is game context. Yes. Otherwise, let's flip this. This one's going to live down here. If we have an existing slug, right? So if this is not nullish, Then what we're going to do is we are going to replace context db replace, and that is going to be our existing content.id, and we're going to replace the entire game context. Okay, so let's actually check the ID instead. That seems like a better call because that's what we're using. And then, because we've set this row ID, we can return it. And that means I don't need this row ID. Just get rid of all this crap. There we go. Easy. Easy peasy. So now this will create context, and then this one is going to get context. And that one's going to be a query, which we have to pull in from the generated server. And it has args. And the args are going to be the slug, which is a... we're going to have to import that. V from convex values. That's going to be a string. And the handler is going to be async. It's going to have the context. And it's going to have our... oops. Slug. Now this is going to get the context, which will be the result of awaiting the context DB query of the context table. And we're going to find filter. And again, that gives us like our little query thing. And then we're going to say query equals. And we're going to give it the slug field and then our slug. And we'll take the first one. Nope, first one. And if context is null, this will return context or one of them. What are you? How about that? How about that? Okay, so let's go figure out how to set up convex in a React project. So I think I've already done that, but let's do it anyways. Let's convex at latest. And we're going to set this up. Set this up around the whole thing. So we'll take this to our take it to our main. My domain here. Did this set up? Do I have any secrets in here? I don't think I do. I don't. So let's bring this back over here. So this is the convex deployment stuff, and this is the vconvex URL. So when I instantiated my setup, this got figured out for me. So I can actually use this instead. Whoa, not like that though. Import meta env, and it was something. vconvex URL. Okay. So that gives us that. Then back out in here. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate that. You know what, Vinny? You're late, but you're here. And that's what counts. Let's, okay, so let's get the rest of this going. We're going to get this here. Oh boy. Like all messed up in my, there we go. Okay, so that then should mean that we have our thing set up, so we should be able to then go get our use query and all that good stuff. So let's do that in our screen and just import that query. So we're going to import from Convex React, and I want, in this case, use query. Okay, so now this one should instead be use query. And I need the API, which is going to come out of import from Convex generated API. Context, and we're going to load. Isn't that neat? And then this one needs parameters, right? So we eventually need to tie this to the right thing, but for now we're going to hard code. Did I hard code in the thing as well? Because I shouldn't do that. No, this one's like that. So we'll hard code it out here where we want to load that in. We'll pull it out of our this variable. So that gives us our context, which should then be displayed on the screen, which right now should give us nothing. If I go to the screen, let me actually open a new tab for this. Right, so it gets nothing because there was nothing logged. But if we get this one to upload that context, it should initialize the game for everyone. So let's go to our producer. And this one now is going to use a mutation. I think the way that the mutations work, let's go look. Editing data, we're going to use mutation, and that gives us back our mutation. So this is going to be save context, and that'll be a use mutation, which I'm going to import from there. And I need that API, which is actually getting included now. So we get the context and create a replace. Should probably use the same names. Create a replace context. Okay. And so now, when I want to do this, on click, we just do a thing. So I believe, ooh, interesting. So now we're talking state machines, right? We're talking state machines. So why did my screen go blank? That was weird. Let's think this through, because we have X state wants us to put things into actors. And that won't work with hooks. I don't think. So, yeah, David, I've been trying not to just like DM him a bunch of questions. Your penance, David, for being my friend is that I will send you endless questions whenever I think about a state machine. But so maybe what I want to do then is actually run these out, this particular mutation, run this outside of React and just make it like a general thing. Query updates. Because like maybe, you know, maybe we don't need anything wild here. On update, I don't care about the on update. I want to see just a quick example of how they do a mutation in here. Here. So it's the same, it's just you get your client. Okay, that's easy enough. All right. Give me just a sec. I'm gonna take like a 2-minute break, use the restroom and refill this water, and I will be right back, and then we're gonna see if we can get this mutation running before we run out of time today. All right. I do. I was thinking about. I think once I'm feeling more stable on the Leet Heat stuff, I might take another crack at making this stream more interactive, because there's a lot of stuff that I want to do. It would be different. So I want this stream to be interactive. I don't want Learn with Jason to bring back the noise and stuff, but like, it'd be more fun if y'all could, you know, play some music or whatever. I was also considering, we're making these joke commercials for Leet Heat. I might just queue them up here so that if I need to walk away for a minute, I can just like roll commercials, and it would just be some of the goofy stuff we've made. Might experiment. We'll see. We'll see. Got to get through. We're recording Leet Heat in a week, and so I need to. That's first. Then I can focus on some other stuff. But yeah, let's see if we can make this work. So I'm gonna put this convex client, and I think I'm just gonna look at the Node.js here. So we're importing from the browser. So let's go to our state machine. And let's try this again where I'm gonna import, what was it? I don't need the subscription client, I just need the HTTP client because I need to be able to like query and stuff. So let's get the convex HTTP client. And we're going to create this convex is going to be new convex HTTP client. And that needs the address, which is going to be import.meta.env.v convex URL. Good. Okay, so then down here, we can set up our actor. And that is going to be save game context. And that will be a from promise. And that will so let's get the result. Because this is kind of, like as far as the state machine is concerned, it's more or less a no-op. I just want it to save and then continue on to the next thing. So for that, we would do what? We would, we just need to like do the thing. So let's get a result. That's going to be await convex dot mutation. And for that, I need the API, which is going to come out of there. And that's going to be context and create a replace. And that will be our game context, which does that state machine actors. Wait. Do the invoked actors get did they get the context? They get input, but input's not really what I'm after here. I'm after full context. Invoke, input. We just get the whole context. Okay, so for that, we need our input. This expression is not callable. That is correct. It is not callable. And this one needs input. And that has to be cast somehow. Can I strongly type this? Input. Let's deal with that. Types of property. Oh no. I hate that. Crap. So to fix that, I am going to do nothing yet because I want to make sure this works before I start. Before I get into TypeScript games, I want to make sure that I am actually getting what I want here. What are you mad about? Slug is declared here. Hush. Okay. So where do we want to save? Let's load game context. And I guess we would just want to immediately save that game context. And so we would invoke see, and this one is kind of like a create. I'm gonna have to look at this a little bit because ideally, I mean, I don't even need to do anything with the actions. I actually just need to target spinning wheel. And instead of this one going here, I need it to go here. What don't you like? Input is going to be context. What's the ID for? Do I need an ID? Yeah. Okay. Let's see if this works, because what should happen then is this should, when we click begin game, it should create a new context in memory, and then it should save that context to convex, at which point we should see our screen get updated with the context. So let's see what happens. These should very rapidly go. Boom, boom, boom. They all did the thing. Something went wrong. Set is not supported at convex type. Okay, so I'm going to have to probably back out of the sets. I basically did that so that if something double fired, I wouldn't get duplicates, but I don't know that I don't know that it really matters. I'm actually not even using that right now. Like, my initial plan was eventually we'd be able to show kind of who did what, or like have some kind of a record of, like, I don't know. Dang it. Let's just not do a set thing. It'll be much easier to not deal with that. So We can go here, and instead of a set, these are going to be array. These will both be arrays. I think that kind of solves that problem. Let's go back to the producer and look, or no, this is now our loader. And I think that actually solves that problem. Let's try again. Uncaught validation. Value does not match validator. Current category value is null. V string. Okay, we're gonna have to fix that for real. And the way that we're gonna do that is we're gonna go look at how Convex handles this. So let's go to their schema. Optional fields. Can I make it? Is there like a null? Because I could do like a union of string and null. Let's see if that works. So instead of you being optional, you are a union. Yeah, suck it. Okay. Union of a question or v null. So that should solve that problem. And theoretic, options is actually optional. Image is actually optional. And that concludes this part of our program. So theoretically speaking, that should also mean that I now have an error in the game for the context thing, because now they match. Yes, good. And then we can return result, I guess. Maybe we can console log that result. And then, no. Object contains extra field ID that is not in the validator. Well, come on, man. I guess we just add. You can just add that, I guess. It's fine. Is that going to cause me weird issues later on? And now we have a convex thingy. And you've done nothing. Okay. So why didn't that work? What, let's see. So convex, let's get to the dashboard. The font that I'm using for the Elite Heat stuff is Monospace, which is a great font. And I believe I'm using the Argon. No, I'm using the Krypton. So this is a cool project. You should check it out. The licensing is also great because they just released it. Like, you can do whatever you want with it, which is good if you're someone like me who's like putting this on screen and I don't want to have to buy font I love paying for fonts. I want more fonts to exist. They get ridiculously expensive when you start getting over a certain number of views. So this one is great because I'm going to give it lots of props, but they don't require me to give them
thousands upon thousands of dollars to use it. So, all right, what's happening out here? Oh, this is cool. When did they get this? Let's go to Elite Heat, I think. Let's go to the data. Let's look at the context. And we have so we got our stuff here. And I would expect that this should be loading. So we already have an initial problem, which is that we're getting duplicates. So we'll have to deal with that. But let's look at our query and let's get a sense of what is happening. Let's see what game context is coming in. We're in the wrong one. This isn't the one I care about. I care about the load. The load should be loading by string. So let's just first and foremost check that we're actually getting that. And then let's check console log context. And let's see what's coming back here. So our slug is correct. Season 1, Episode 3. Season 1, Episode 3. So, what is missing? We are searching for Am I using this wrong? I think I might be just doing it wrong. Let's look at queries. Yeah, that's what I did wrong. It's Q field. That makes more sense. Because otherwise we would just be comparing a raw value of slug, which doesn't match. Do I have other ones here? Yes, I do. Q field. Silly. That's also why we're getting our duplicates there. So, all right, let's try this one more time. Let's just delete these outright. Okay, table's empty. This is empty. We would expect that. We're going to begin a game. It has created a context, and now we have a context. Yes. Okay, so that's good news. That's very good news. We have what I wanted to be happening. So we're getting the screen up here, and so then what we should be able to do is use this context in the screen to take some of the stuff that we're doing. And let's find just the piece I care about. So here's our heading. So I want so we won't have like the full state, and that's probably not exactly what I want, but I'm going to live with it. Let's go with one of these. I don't want the answer. I do want the options. So we can take this over to our screen. And so we've got context here, right? And our context should be
Cool if I could get, that should be returning. That should have the type. I'm not going to stress about it right now. We're just going to move forward here. So here's how I'm going to do this. We don't get our state or our context or anything like that, but what we are going to get is we're going to get just the context itself giving us the current question. And I'm just gonna force that to be a game. And we're not gonna do the timer, so we can cut that. Cannot read properties of undefined, that's okay. So what we need then is context, current question. And if that doesn't exist, we're going to come down here. And I guess for right now, we'll just do like no question selected. What are you doing? No question selected. Okay. Let's select a question. That's a selected question. We're not saving our updates. So that means we need am I gonna have to do this every state though? Because that feels a little weird, right? Like what if can I just do like a wild card? Save it every time we click the button kind of thing? Probably, right? Events and transitions, wildcard transitions. Can a transition actor that's the actor. This is not what I thought I meant. No, that's not what I want. So that's our promise logic. There's got to be a way to do this. And the way that would work, like, can I invoke from Can I invoke from an event? Because that's what I really want. Transition that occurs when the actor is complete. Because what I want to happen is I want every event that happens to update the context everywhere, or to save to convex. Because there aren't that many actions, right? And I shouldn't hit rate limits or anything. So I also really want the actor to have access to the parent context without having to do this. From promise and the So yeah, I mean the thing that's tricky about this is that it's just a very different way of thinking about logic in trying to like get it to get asynchronous things to be plugged into a like synchronous system, and when you get into stuff like this, it does definitely get weird. Parts of it are feeling better for me though after having gone through this exercise, and like I'm seeing mistakes that I made that I want to fix in the future. The trick is that a lot of this stuff is stuff that I just haven't done. So maybe what we do to start is let's just see if I can. Because I guess the other thing I could do too is like I can take this and I can just make one of these to invoke on everything and say actions and do like a type of say update game context, right? And so that then, I guess I'm gonna need one of these. I gotta go fix that. And also, I don't think this is I opened an issue for it, and the more I'm seeing I do think there's something weird with the reporting of that error, because I don't think it should be what it's telling me doesn't make any sense. Because if you look, it says the type action can't be assigned to like the entire context, which doesn't make sense to me. Type of property actions are not compatible. Yeah, like something just seems goofy here, and I don't know what it is. So let's see. All right, we're real close to being out of time here, so let's. Is this like a filthy dirty thing to do if I just have the action fire off the update? Let's see. Next state, invoke actor on every event. Because, like, what I'm kind of imagining, right, is that we would want. Seems like you would want this to be possible. The invoked actor will start when the state is entered and stop when the state is exited. But I don't necessarily want to have to go into a state every time, because that's just going to add so many intermediate states that I don't really want. I want it to be like a. I mean, can I just invoke it in every state? So it won't be that. It would instead be. And then what if I just don't set an on done? Like, what if I take this? And we do that. What happens? Let's find out. So that set the category and should have saved. Let's try this a different way. Just gonna get rid of that for now. Okay. So that looks good. Let's see what happens when it has options. Let's go here, here. Contestant.correct.add. What on earth? What was that? It was game 181. Thank you for not auto unfolding this. That would have been. What is this? Oh, because we did. Shoot. Because we turned off the set thing. So we got to go fix all of those anywhere that we have a dot add. Which I think is just these two spots, which is convenient. Okay, try that again. We're going to begin a game. We are going to select a category. And that showed it too fast. We would want... we're going to need more. What is the snapshot? Instead of the dump that I'm doing here, which is like the full thing, I guess the nice thing is I don't need that anymore because we're not using sets. So instead, what if I do a get snapshot? Get snapshot. It's already a snapshot? So that's the snapshot. So what does that then mean? Shows the status active, the context, the value, children, history, and tags. So if I just add the snapshot instead of the context, I would also know what state we're in. And that would let me make different choices because I could do like a state.value equals this would like, so that would change behavior, which would be good, I think. Right? Yeah. Okay, that would be good, I think. So let's... I'm gonna have to do this later because I'm out of time. Okay, let me double check. I'm like late for a call right now. No, everything is fine. Okay, I gotta call this one done. I'm gonna wrap it up here. I don't have a guest for Thursday, so I'm not gonna do a Learn with Jason on Thursday. I believe the next one that we have, check off screen what my next, and then so this Thursday I don't have a guest lined up. Next Thursday I'm filming, so the next Learn with Jason is going to be on January 30th, and that's going to be with the creator of RS Pack, Zach. That's going to be great. I'm really I have no idea how any of that stuff works. Zach is doing some really interesting stuff, so that's going to be a fun one. I will be doing the solo streams next Tuesday and the following Tuesday, so I guess I'll see you then. As always, thanks for hanging out, y'all. If you want to stop by the Discord, if you want to hit the thumbs up on this thing, maybe subscribe to the channel, do some sharing of the things. It does count for a lot because the algorithm just loves a comment. It loves participation. So yeah, if you want to leave a little comment, tell everybody how much you loved watching me eat a burrito today. I would greatly appreciate it. And we will see you next time. Thanks, y'all.